Here we go. Draw our rooms. And we have the Saints' Rest. Add 1 to rolls this step. That's open everywhere except the east. And then we have the Meditant's Cell. Horrors cannot shift here. Well, that'll be nice. Open everywhere but the north. Let's see if we can fit these into our map of the Catacombs. We can. The Saints' Rest will fit nicely right there. And then we'll place the Meditant's Cell right to the north of the Saints' Rest. Both of those rooms have a type, we don't have to worry. I'm going to put the Sandals of Hermes in place of the climbing gear on my array. The climbing gear wasn't really doing us any good. It allowed us to cross the heart symbol hazard, and we can already do that because of the type of our character. Do I want to add the illuminated pistol or keep the shot? I'm going to keep the shotgun in place. So the climbing gear goes back into my hand with the pistol, and we still have that one moment of madness horror card in our hand. I think we're pretty close to finishing the game here. I'm going to use the Sandals of Hermes right away and shift my Explorer into any room in the Catacombs. If you do, discard this card. So I will go ahead, discard that. I'm going to shift all the way over to the Chamber of the Sun. As soon as we enter the Chamber of the Sun, we regain all lost health once per game. We don't have any lost health, so it's a once per game, so I'll mark it. I will pick up the token, which will be our 4th one. We only need 1 more. And we have to do a room roll for the Chamber of the Sun. Everything is open here. And a 4 means nothing happens. We'll move to the south. That'll cost us 1 of our movement points, still leaving us with 4. And Explorers only roll 1 die. There's nothing in there to worry about. And we'll go ahead and do the room roll for the Old Knights. See what we got. A 5. Nothing again. We're going to move again to the west into the catacomb entrance, which means we're going to have to go over this spike hazard, which is going to cost us an additional movement. So that's going to use up 2, leaving us with 2 movement. And we'll go ahead and do the room roll for the catacombs, see if anything sneaks up on us. Oh, this time we found something. Our treasure hunter finds a couple of items, but can only hold on to 1. The Chalice of Sorrows. Choose an explorer. They discard their hand or array as you choose. Well, that doesn't really apply in the solo. Clarity Born of Madness. Add 1 to wit rolls. If an effect forces you to discard this card, you must also discard your entire array. But we'll keep the Clarity Born of Madness. We'll put that into our hand. Discard the Chalice of Sorrows. We will move to the north using 1 movement, leaving us with only 1, which means we cannot go further north because of that hazard there. We would have to have 2, 1 to cross over that hazard and 1 to move into the room. So that is it for our movement. But we do have a room roll here, and we can either get a 1 or a 2 and something bad happens, or nothing happens. Anything but a 1 or a 2. Come on. Oh, it heard me talking. Something bad happens. Doom will now be at 4. We didn't make it to the halfway point yet, so those hourglass symbols do not take effect yet. And we have to draw a horror. And it's going to be the Doomsayer. While this horror is in play, all other horrors in the Catacombs, they will use their hourglass symbol. But he's just going to our hand, which has 5 in it. I will, and this is an easy decision this time, discard the climbing gear. And that is a piece of equipment, so I'll discard it over there. So we have the 2 horrors, and we still have the 2 finds in our hand. That's the end of the seek step, which means I have to play a madness card from my hand because of the solo game. So I can do Moment of Madness, which means the explorer subtracts 1 from his combat result. I can inflict that on myself, or I can have the Doomsayer appear. He's not too difficult with one of these, but if he comes into play in my room, he's going to attack me with wit. And he's a wit type, and I'm in a wit type room too, so he's going to get a lot of bonuses. And his type trumps my type, so I don't know if I want to do that. I've chosen to play the Moment of Madness. The explorer subtracts 1 from his combat result. I'll play this against myself, and I'll place it here so I don't forget. Next combat I get into, I have to subtract 1 from my result. Both of our creatures, our horrors, will move 1 chamber closer to us, and that'll end our turn and get us into what I'm hoping is my either last or next to last turn on my way to victory. We'll go ahead and draw our 2 room cards. And we have the Trove of Bones. Only open, nope, it's open everywhere but the south. Add 1 on your room roll. House of the Risen. Only open north and south, and there the horrors use the hourglass power. Both of these rooms have a type, so no new monsters. We'll put the Trove of Bones here, and then add the House of the Risen just above it. I can adjust my array. I'll go ahead and add the Clarity Born of Madness, so I can add 1 to my wit rolls. But if anything forces me to discard that card, then I'm going to lose everything that's in my array at that time. I'm not going to equip the illuminated pistol right now. Now we can make our move to the north across the wit hazard there, which is a water hazard, and into the Capitoline Primus, and we can draw 1 find for each other explorer, and we'll go ahead and play that as just draw 1 find. That used up 2 moves, so we're down to 3. We'll draw 2 finds like we do with the Treasure Hunter. Invocation of the Soul. Once played, discard this card at the end of the turn. While this card is in your array, you do not lose health. We might have to add that. Then we got Martyr's Proof. You may discard a card from your array instead of losing health. If you do, roll a die. On a 1, 2, or 3, discard this card. I'm going to keep Invocation of the Soul in my hand and discard Martyr's Proof. I'll grab our final token for Seeker After Horror. We have all 5 tokens, and then we must travel to the Gate of the Hand, which is right here, but the path to get to it, we have to exit, go back to the entrance, head west and north to win. So we're going to have to fight one more time before we get there. Let's do the room roll. Oh no, it's a 2. And things just got a little more difficult. And we are now on 5. So the hourglass powers are activated, which means we can now bring into play the Great Old One that was waiting. Our Great Old One is going to rise from the depths of the Gate of the Hand to try and stop us. I can play it now, and it always rolls an extra die. So we'll put that here in the lineup. and we'll take the Great Old One's token, and he will come crawling out of the gate of the hand, which is exactly where I need to go. And because of that, I still have to draw a horror card for my hand, and it is Bump in the Dark. Play anytime. This turn, room rolls of 3 or 6 count as 1 or 2. This turn, all room rolls count as 1 or 2. Well, luckily that's in my hand. Now I have to decide what I want to do, because all of these horrors are going to be starting to move towards me. If I come out of the Pilgrim's Walk, or come out into the Pilgrim's Walk, the eyeless beast will move up and attack me. But I have to choose my lowest rate for combat. My lowest trait, I mean, for combat anyway. So do I stay and wait, or do I come out and attack? I did move this turn, and the reason I'm saying that is if you do not move during your turn, it increases the doom by 1 in the solo game. So I did move, so I'm going to end my move there and just stop. And I have to play a horror from my hand now, and I'm going to play Bump in the Dark, which says this turn, and we're still in the same turn, all room rolls count as a 1 or a 2. That doesn't hurt me very much, because this is a solo game and I'm playing it here in step 3 of the turn. So I'm not going to be moving anymore, so that is not going to affect me. But all of our horrors are going to move 1 step closer each. I think I might be able to win it this time. We'll see. We first have to draw our 2 rooms. We have the Stone Men, -1 to room rolls. That's only open north and west. And this is only open east and south. The Votive Hall, add 1 to your room roll. Both of these have a type, so no new horrors will appear. The Votive Hall will fit nicely up here. And then we'll put the Stone Men right next to it. We can adjust the array. And I'm going to go ahead and throw on the Invocation of the Soul. While this card's in your array, you do not lose health, and I'm going to need it because I have a whole gauntlet of horrors to run past and deal with. Let's see. Nope, that's okay. Since I can't take wounds this turn, this turn, then I'll just leave the shotgun in place. Our treasure hunter, with the protection of his Invocation of the Soul scroll, we're going to make our move and make a run for it. It's going to cost us 2 moves because we have to cross over. That's going to take us down to 3 moves. We have to cross over that hazard, and we have to attack the eyeless beast. I do have the Moment of Madness affecting me before rolls are made. So this one combat here, I'm gonna be -1 on my roll. I'm attacking him. I'm only gonna get 1 dice because we're the same type. The room is not the same type as either of us, so no bonuses there. The shotgun will give me 1, so it's gonna cancel out that Moment of Madness. Oh, and I forgot, we're using daring, so that's 6 plus, oh no, wait, with the eyeless beast I have to use my lowest trait, so we're using grit, so 6 plus 3 is 9, and now the eyeless beast will be using grit. He has a 4, and he actually beat me and would have done damage to me, but not this time because of my scroll protecting me. The eyeless beast doesn't seem to understand what just happened. It hit me and nothing seem to affect me. And I will leave the Pilgrim's Walk, moving into the Catacombs entrance, using up another move, taking me down to 2. And now I have to face the nailed ones. And something I forgot is we are into this symbol now, and explorers cannot use finds to contribute to their combat result. So my shotgun would not have helped me there, but he beat me anyway, so that's not an issue. And now we're in a room with no symbol, so that won't affect us either way. We're both the same type, so we're each going to roll 1 die. Let's see what the nailed one is weakest in. Wait. A defeated explorer also discards his array, so I have to win here, otherwise I'm going to lose the protection of my scroll. I might not take a wound this time, but I'll lose that for going up against that nasty creature that we're about to run into. His wit and grit are both 3. My wit is a 4. And so there's only a difference of 1. We'll go ahead and go with daring. We might as well. So we'll roll 5, or roll a 5. We get to add on. So we got a 6, and our shotgun works. So that's a 7 plus the 5 is 12. His daring is a 4. So the best he can do, well, that's only going to be a 5 for him. Not even close, so we were able to defeat the nailed ones and hold on to our items. Almost forgot again to roll for the defeated one, and I don't find anything. Also, in my excitement, I forgot to do a room roll for the Pilgrim's Walk and a room roll for the Catacombs entrance. So this will be for the Pilgrim's Walk, and it's a 2, which is bad. That will cause our doom to go up to 6, and we have to draw a horror for our hand. And the Lady in White is going to go into our hand. And now we'll do the room roll for the Catacombs entrance. And we did defeat the nailed ones, so they're out of the way, but let's do the room roll that we forgot. Well, we can't have a 1 or a 2 affect us again. Oh, we got a 5, so nothing of any consequence happens. We're going to move to the west, to the Worm's Crawl, and face the Great Old One, but first we have to discard 1 card. I don't have a choice here, because these are both horrors, so I have to discard the Illuminated Pistol. And that brings me to my room roll. And that's a 2, but it doesn't matter because that happened already this turn. And now we have to face off against the Great Old One. And it always rolls an extra die. The Worm Crawl has the heart symbol for its room type, or the daring. So that's going to help us out. It's not going to help out the Great Old One because he's got a wit symbol. But he's got a lot of stuff that is really strong. And I think, let's see what our best chance is here. There's a difference of 2 with daring, 3 with grit, 4 with wit. So we're going to go with daring as the attack type. I put my health back there, that I'm safe and not going to lose. I'm the attacker. I go first. We are in a room type the same as me, so we're good there. And hope he's going to get the extra die because he's a wit attacking a daring, so no other die for me. Whew. Well, considering this is the last monster, maybe let me pull this card out from under here. We go ahead and use the shotgun. You may re-roll your dice once in combat. If you do, discard this card after. Well, there's no awards for holding on to equipment, at least not with these narratives. Let's go ahead and re-roll. just to see if we can defeat this thing, and we didn't get much better. So a 3 plus a 5 is going to give us an 8, and we get the +1 for the shotgun, so we got a 9. The Great Old One gets 1 die. It always rolls an extra die, and it's going to get a die because of its type is better than my type, or defeats my type. So it's going to roll 3, and we have again 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He has a 7. So unless he gets 3 1s, he's going to, at a minimum, tie us. And he got a 4. That's going to give him 11. He would have done damage, but we got lucky. We got that scroll, and we got it in place just in time. We will have to discard our shotgun now. And we have 1 movement point left. We got to get past the Great Old One. There is a hazard there, but if you look on the Pilgrim's Walk, which is the first room we went into, it says ignore the next hazard. There were no hazards on our way to here, so that is the next hazard, so we can ignore it using our 1 movement point left to move into the Gate of the Hand. We made it to the Gate of the Hand. When this card has 5 tokens, you may enter the Gate of the Hand to complete the narrative. And we did it. We got 5 tokens, and we made it to the Gate of the Hand before our doom got to 9, and we have won the game. We got really lucky. That Invocation of the Soul came at the right time. We had it ready to go for that final dash through these monsters, not being able to take any damage. I don't know if I would have made it through there. I would have taken a couple of wounds. I might have made it, but it would have been a really close win if I was able to make it through there without the Invocation of the Soul Scroll. So all in all, it was a pretty good playthrough. I'm going to take a few moments and give my final thoughts on the game. First, let's start with the rulebook. It's not a big or complex rulebook. It threw me for a loop the first time, probably because I was thinking too hard, because what happens is you're following along, reading the rules, and then you get to here, your Explorer card and his or her active equip. You turn the page and it goes right into the Explorer card array. That sentence isn't even finished. This would probably have been better as an index page for something to look into. But here it is, equipment and finds, and that picks up there. And then when that happens again, where is the, yes, here we go. Shifting is a safer and rarer form of, and then it goes right in. If you need to make a roll, here's how. I just think the placement of the tables, because here's where the shifting picks back up here. I think the placement of those tables is just not the best location for them. I mean, the rules are there. It's not like it's hard to figure out what happened, but in the beginning I was confused as to where to find everything that I needed. Another thing with the rules, the solo variant, there's not a whole lot to it. I mean, it's easy to follow the changes, but there's a lot of cards that I find that I have to house rule or come up with a interpretation, because a lot of the cards reference other players or other explorers which are not in the solo game. So I have to make judgments on what I want to do with those cards. I know maybe it's not easy to print like additional solo rules on the cards themselves, but I wouldn't mind a index with an alphabetical listing of the cards that are different in the solo game, because it wouldn't bother me to go in the book and look them up whenever I come across something that talks about other characters or other explorers. I think that would have been a nice addition to the rule book to make it a little bit easier. I have no problem, and it doesn't bother me to make up my own rules or house rules. And I'll stay consistent with the way I interpret them through my playthroughs, but some people may be having a difficult time coming up with their own rules, or staying consistent, or even wanting to deal with it. So that might be in addition to the rules that the creator might want to add if there's another printing of the game, or something. Maybe you can download a PDF online. Maybe you can post something on Board Game Geek for the rulebook. The components are solid. The cards are a nice linen finish. They slide really easy when shuffling. No problems at all there. The cardboard tokens, they're a nice, pretty thick cardboard. Not a lot of give in them. Thick enough you don't have to worry about bending. And these they weren't in punch boards. They were just in the box already punched out. Not that there's a lot of them, but there's enough. And there are also tokens for each of the narratives. Each of the narratives has a set of tokens that pertain to each of those different narratives, which leads me to some of the things that I would like to have had would have been health tokens or expertise tokens. And I never got to do an expertise because you really only have those come into play if you're doing a game where you want to solve multiple narratives to win. I did this as just a single narrative, which is the base. You can also say I have to do 2 narratives or I have to do 3 narratives to win the game. Every time you complete a narrative, you would add an expertise, a dash mark, a token, something to show that you have that expertise. And for every expertise you have, you can add 1 onto your rolls. So it gives you an advantage. Your explorer is a little more experienced and has an easier time dealing with some of the horrors that we find down here in the catacombs. I would have liked to have health tokens because in the rule book it talks about tokens being placed, but there are no tokens that come with the game. I don't have a problem using my own little dice to mark things, and like the rooms that are single use or once per player, once per game type things, I use my glass beads or glass squares to mark them, and that's just for me. That's not necessary, but I want to remember that I've used those one-time use items so I don't mess up and forget about them. And the same thing with the Doom tracker. I mean, my little see-through square works just fine, but again, it talks about a token for the Doom tracker, but it does not come with a token. And these are minor concerns, but I feel if you're going to put it in the rule book, you should go ahead and provide the token, or you could just say, hey, use your own token for these following items, or game doesn't come with tokens for this, feel free to use whatever you want, something along those lines. Enough of my complaining about not having tokens or a glossary for solo play. Let's talk about the art, which I really, really enjoy. It really captures the theme good for this game. This is very well done. Very, very well done. And I even like the card backs, the design. Really intricate, really nice. The rooms, every room, every item, every monster, they all have their own unique character or room or item or equipment art. Everything is individual. There's no repeats in the game. It's not just something that is reused with the color changed or a different name or anything like that. Those things that drive me crazy. I talked about this one earlier in the game. I mean, it really well done capturing the emotion on a lot of these cards. Very, very well done. Even the rooms themselves, the cards are really, really thematic, really detailed. The gameplay, it works well. I enjoy it. I find it sometimes extremely challenging. This game wasn't too difficult. This playthrough, I mean, it wasn't too difficult, but sometimes I can find it extremely challenging, especially if you try to complete more than one narrative. And there is a lot of replay value. We just seen the treasure hunter, but there are many many different characters with differing abilities, so it can be played different ways. And again, the art continues to be just outstanding on these cards. The same with the narratives. There are many narratives. Let me let it focus. To change the way you have to go about playing the game in order to win. So there's a lot of different things, and yes, you could pick them, but I like the idea of random. I mean, there was plenty of finds that we didn't get to even see. Like I said, you can pick an equipment anytime you want to draw a find. So there's plenty of really great individually illustrated pieces of equipment also. So there's a lot here that mix and match, especially if you do it randomly, that allow you to create a different experience each time. And you can also see that there are probably a dozen more rooms that we didn't even place to create the catacombs, because the catacombs, if you get all the room cards down, it can get quite large and makes it difficult to get from one area to another unless you get some of these special rooms or special items that allow you to shift to anywhere. It can be really difficult. You may have to go through a lot of monsters. Again, we got really lucky with the invocation of the soul. That scroll really helped us at the very end there. But once you learn the rules, which are not complex, setup doesn't take that long, and this is a good, quick game that you can get played in under an hour. I don't know how long it would take with multiple players, but I play a lot of solo games, so I usually try to find either cooperative games or games that have their own solo variant, which this one has, and it works pretty well with a few tweaks. Thank you for watching. Please take a moment to check out the other videos on the channel, and please leave some comments. Let me know what you think of the game, what you think of the components, the art. There's a lot to look at in here. I might have to go sit down and take a look at everything, and I'd like to talk to the illustrator for this, and even just some of the names of the rooms I had to look up in the dictionary just how to say them. So a lot of thought went into the art and the names. So that might be something I want to explore further. Again, as always, your support is appreciated, and I'll see you in my next video.